I remember, I think when the incident happened, I had met you 6 months prior to that and followed your Facebook page. You posted some things along there, and I thought it was really interesting that you did a lot of things in addition to what the doctors were doing to try to help. And I thought that was really interesting. You called in a bunch of friends, colleagues, and things like that, and to supplement what the doctors were doing. What were some of the things that you did in addition to just the doctors' protocols?
One of the first things that I did to help the situation was I asked for help. And which is in reality something I'd never been comfortable with. It's vulnerable, but it was one of the biggest sources of strength that I had, and everybody came running and gave me amazing information. Now, not all of the things were things that the doctors in the hospital wanted to go along with. Right. However, I knew that the risk-reward ratio was there, right? Like if it had been something crazy to do, I wouldn't have done it. But like fish oil, for example, I had all of the research from Dr. Barry Sears and Dr. Michael Lewis. They worked with Julian Bales. So I knew what should be going on. And the hospital here was like, well, we have to go before the board and all this stuff. And it's like, time matters. And I knew there was no risk. Because the big risk that they kept saying was he would increase his bleeding time, but there's actually no data to show that fish oil does that, none. So what I did was they would only go to 2 grams, which is not what he needed 20. So every time I knew they were doing a blood test to check his bleeding time, I'd push up his dose. And it never impacted it. And it was interesting because when I got him up to 20 grams, he went from saying things like, let's go, to talking in full sentences. I mean, it was a dramatic shift.
What did the doctors, what was their reaction when they saw that? Did they say it was because of some of the things that you did, or did they just attribute it to something else?
So we brought Grant back. He was in 2 hospitals. He was at the first hospital that's an amazing trauma center. I mean, if you get thrown off an overpass or run over by a car, this is where you want to go. But they admittedly said once he'd gotten to a certain point, I walked in one day, he was straitjacketed to the bed. There was nothing they could do for him. So we then took him over to a rehab center, and they were much more open to everything at the Children's Hospital and doing all this stuff. When I took him back to Harbor, they were not open to listening to any of this stuff. They just thought, wow, this is great, it's a miracle. Like, like you hear all the time when people do things that are not accepted or outside of what the typical standard of care is. Instead of being open to possibility, which is how we can really change things, they just kind of accept this was an anomaly. The only anomaly was that we didn't just accept what was the status quo. And we worked to make a difference. And I had to, as a mom, know that I'd exhausted everything. Then I figured whatever happens here, I'll be at peace if I know I've done everything in my power to help.
Thank you for watching this video, and thank you to those who have supported us on Patreon. Remember, that's the best way to make sure that we can keep bringing you this kind of content. If you'd like to sign up and support us, there's a link right here on the right. Also, make sure to sign up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, that's on the right as well. And stay up to date with the latest videos. A couple of the newest ones are right on the bottom of this page as well. Thanks again for watching.